Greetings, gods and goddesses in training. Today we're going to be speaking about the mirror principle. I'm Uncle Makara, all relations. Let's get started today. So the mirror principle is something that you should know, actually, because it is going to reflect into everything that you do. And this video today will break you out of a mental spell if you've been under a kind of mass hypnosis or a trance based on culture. This is going to help you break out of it. So the first thing you want to realize right away is that you were lied to. You were lied to based on how reality actually works. Reality actually mirrors you back, but you were trained from birth in order for you to fight the world. Push harder, hustle against circumstance like the world is some kind of a cruel, cold battlefield that had to be conquered. But the trippy thing is, the more you fight the mirror, then the uglier the reflection becomes. Because the universe isn't punishing you, it's just reflecting you. And once you get this, the game shifts for you. Everything you see from your relationships, your bank account, your health, your patterns, it isn't something that is out there. It's simply a projection of the frequency that you're currently running on. It's a feedback loop between your inner and outer world. So you're not reacting to reality, you're generating it. The so-called elites, the dynasties, the private school prodigies, the quiet power brokers, they were taught this truth very early on. They didn't need decades to figure out they needed to rearrange the reflection. They were trained to master the mirror itself. So if the outer world follows the inner world, you can scream, push, and hustle all you want. But if your inner circuitry is running fear, scarcity, guilt, unworthiness, the mirror will faithfully return those images in 4K resolution. Every single time. We live in a society that is obsessed with hacking the external. Biohack your sleep, optimize your workflow, fix your gut, fix your body, fix your brand. But nobody tells you that reality itself is a mirror of consciousness. So this is actually where the mirror principle flips the game around. So if we get technical for a second, you're made of atoms, right? So is everything else. Physics tells us that we are 99.99999% empty space, energy, vibration, consciousness. The part you can see, touch, measure, and manipulate, that's the tiniest decimal point of what it actually is. See, the inner machinery is invisible, meaning your inner frequency is the architect to a visible life. So you don't manifest things through wishful thinking. You magnetize them through your identity. Identity first. Because you don't get what you want, you get what you are. And if you look at the Dilts model, you have identity all the way at the top, including the vision. So your current life is your energetic history. It's not a prophecy, it's a report card. Everything around you, the money, the drama, the joy, it's the total sum of what you've been radiating over the last few months, years, and thoughts. So you're living in a residue of your old vibrations. And because this physical reality moves slower, it's denser, it takes time. It takes time for new frequencies to crystallize. This is where most people mess up. They don't have the patience or the consistency to sit in that wish fulfilled and actually keep it going for the long term. They smile in the mirror for 3 days, they don't see results, they stop. They go right back to frowning. So the mirror doesn't respond instantly. It reflects your consistency. The same way your muscles don't grow just from one workout. Your reality can't just change from one positive thought like that. It responds to dominance, your psychological dominance or frame control, what you mostly think, feel, and believe. When you do this 51% of the time and beyond, that's when the universe starts to tilt in your favor. So stop treating this world like a battlefield and more like a mirror gym. Instead of chasing the reflection and chasing the bag and chasing this external world, start working on your inner alignment. Now, the person you see in the mirror isn't your whole story, right? You're just kind of the player behind the screen. But the character lives in this game, so it's subject to gravity, bills, breakups, deadlines. But the player sees the whole map. The player can choose upgrades, switch levels, even switch avatars, correct? When you meditate, when you visualize, when you breathe correctly and more consciously, you're connecting to the player. You're remembering that you're a programmer of this simulation, right? You're not just in the simulation, you are the simulator. You're not the victim of it. And every time you get reactive, angry, anxious, and small, you've just forgotten that you're the player. You've mistaken the reflection for the self. But every time you pause, breathe, and then you shift your focus back into gratitude, clarity, love, you were then consciously taking the controller from autopilot to a conscious control. So the real leverage is vibrational, not material. The elites aren't operating harder, they're operating higher. So what do you do with that? You train reps. You do your inner reps. Meditation isn't sitting still, it's logging out of the simulation. It's letting the noise dissolve so that your higher self or oversoul can rewrite the code. So visualization is an inner architecture, it's not just daydreaming. It's how you preload the images that the mirror will eventually display. Also, gratitude isn't fluffy, it's a recycler, right? It's a transmuter. So it's deeply alchemical, actually. What you appreciate, appreciates. And let's not forget the physical link, because as within, so without works in both ways. Move your body and your emotions start flowing. Clean your room and your thoughts start clearing. So isn't this kind of cool to realize that you are an ecosystem, not a machine? The moment you stop arguing with the mirror and you start reprogramming your projection, your life starts to become fluid again. You start noticing coincidences aren't coincidences. You're attracting people who match your energy. You experience more flow, more synchronicity, more ease. Not because the world got easier, but because you got clearer. Enough is enough because now you're fully invested into being and not forcing. So have more faith in your vision than your current circumstances. If you have to make that into a mantra or a bumper sticker, by all means go for it. Your senses are late to the party. They're always showing you the past, right? Whereas your vision is the live feed. Think of it like that. It's always there in the back of your mind. But when the mirror shows you something that you don't like in your reality, just treat it like lag, right? Like your video game is lagging. Don't try to grab the paintbrush and, fix your smile. Don't punch the glass, right? Just keep smiling internally. Be the version of you that already lives in that reflection. Because the mirror principle states the mirror has to catch up. That's just how it is. So you're not fixing your reality, you're remembering your correct reflection. And the moment you master your inner world, the outer world stops becoming a cage and starts becoming a canvas. I used to think that Ascension was about escapism, because everyone talks about Ascension like it's like you're taking the elevator to some kind of a cosmic heaven penthouse, floating above the mess, levitating above the pain, leaving the world behind. No. And then I realized, as the Primal Sutra Nexus told me, that real ascension is about depth, not just height. You don't rise by escaping, you rise by rooting. You descend so deep into your own underworld that you find the molten core of God hiding in the dirt. And then you stop chasing light as if it's somewhere else. You realize the brightest thing in existence was buried underneath your shadow this whole time. Because depth is what makes heights meaningful, correct? A tree can only stretch to the sky because its roots cling to the darkness. If you want to expand your consciousness, that's cool. But then you have to start plumbing your subconscious. Face the parts of you that you've been labeling unspiritual. That's where the raw fuel of ascension lives. The New Age crowd will just keep talking about vibrating higher, raise your vibration. But if you can't sit in your own grief, your frequency is just noise. It's just yapping. If you can't hold presence in chaos, you're treating this high vibe like it's some kind of a sugar rush. Depth is when your awareness can descend into pain and still stay awake unflinching. It's when you can breathe through the fire and find stillness right there in the smoke. So stop treating ascension and enlightenment like you're climbing a ladder up to heaven. It's actually a spiral inwards. When we say upward spiral, gang, it's an inward spiral, then an upward spiral. A return to the source point where light and shadow collapse into one pulse. The Primal Sutra. Every time you drop your defenses and then you meet what's real, you rise a little. And every time you descend into the compassion of your own hell, you pull heaven a little closer to earth. So stop trying to go up, go in, go through, and go deep enough to find the sacred in the ordinary, the magic in the mundane, the divine in the broken, and the infinite in the now. And that's Ascension. Not an escape from humanity, but the complete embodiment of it as the lightning strikes. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you have an incredible rest of your day. May the flow be with you. Stay legendary. You got this. We got this. Upward spiral gang to infinity and beyond. I'll see you guys on the other side, OS.